Welcome everyone to the football officials education video for the 2025 season. Here we are already in completed week 5 in North Carolina. Thanks everyone for commenting, hitting the like button, the share button, and so forth, and watching the video. This week we have some excellent officiating plays and we have some plays that we need to improve upon. And that's what these video series is about, is to learn from our great officiating and improve upon the areas that we need to improve upon. Let's get into the plays for this week. Our first play this week, we're going to take a look on a kickoff, and our focus will be on the player right there we had shaded in. And we're going to get the player coming across the RS line, restraining line. We get a flag marker down by our line judge on the 50, and we also get a marker down for the hit here that happens about 7-8 yards after he crosses during the dead ball period by our back judge on the 40-yard line. So when we look at this play, and we're going to break this down, we're going to say, one, what are our fouls here? We have encroachment by the receiving team, and then we have a dead ball foul. So let's see how we could better officiate this and what fouls we have. So as we look right here, we see that player, and we can see he gets about a 4-yard head start and breaks the 50-yard line, which is a dead ball foul. So we're going to shut this play down. Now, our line judge does get a flag out, marker down on the ground. But when we get this marker down by our line judge, we need to immediately, after putting the marker down, come out with a stop the clock signal, come on the field, and getting on that whistle loudly and try to shut this down. Now, I'm not saying that would have prevented what happens next, but if we do that, we show our efforts to try to prevent this or stop this hit from happening. Now, once we do that, every other official hears that should be getting on the whistle too and giving that stop the clock signal. Now, the hit right here clearly happens during a dead ball period, okay? 7-8 yards later. So now we get into Rule 9, Section 4, and we look at illegal personal contact. And specifically, we'll look here at B. It says, no player shall charge into or throw an opponent to the ground after he is obviously out of the play or after the ball is clearly dead, either in or out of bounds. So on this play, the question is yes, it's a personal foul, but in the rule book, is this a disqualification? Or in the high school handbook in North Carolina, we have an ejection. So is this ejection because it's flagrant? It's very late. It's very excessive, unnecessary during a dead ball period, and easily support a ejection on this play. This is something where maybe the crew needs to come together and discuss this. But when we look at this, we have to look and say, one thing we say is this violent hit? Yeah, and the answer is yes. And then two, is this something we see, kind of frequently in a game, like encroachment or false start? And the answer to that should be no. This is something that is very rare that we see. And then we look at it and say, well, then does it escalate to the level of being flagrant? And I would say, yes, you could very easily on this play support that this is flagrant. And so in North Carolina, we could easily support what would be an ejection. So when you look at this hit up close, you can see that this almost looks like, this player had picked this K player out to go after him for some reason. And I don't know. We don't know the rest of the game. But let's come together and discuss because of how unusual this play is. Great job here getting markers down on the field, though. Our second play this week, we're going to focus on the line judge I have highlighted. We're going to have a pass play to the line judge's side, and then the player who catches the ball is going to go out of bounds. But look at the line judge. Do we stop the clock? Do we keep the clock running? It is important, it's the covering official, that we give clear signals to the clock operator. Prior to the game, we give our clock operators instructions to follow our signals. On this play, We are not giving signals, so we were not communicating to the clock operator. We look in the lower left-hand corner and we see the clock still running. This player is going forward and goes out of bounds. This can come back to catch us in a close game where the clock is important. And we're not giving that signal, so we cannot blame our clock operator because the officials on the field or the covering official did not give any signal. On these types of plays, and you're the covering official on the sideline, you must give either the wind the clock or the to stop the clock signal immediately. Don't wait to get to the spot. Give the signal immediately when it's appropriate. Play number 3 this week. We have a field goal attempt by the team in green. Snap to the holder. He pitches back to the kicker. He runs in the end zone. Let's watch the play. Do you have a touchdown? Answer that question. All right. What's your answer? Take a look again. Let me read the casebook play. Under Rule 442, A, exception. K1 has one knee on the ground to hold for an apparent field goal attempt. K2 is in position to kick. K1 catches the snap and without rising, flips the ball to K2, attempts to run. The ball becomes dead immediately when K1 tosses it to K2. Well, K1 has his knee on the ground. See his knee on the ground? He never rises. He keeps his knee in contact on the ground. This ball is dead immediately. Hope you got the call right here. As we'll see in this game, this would have been a touchdown if not ruled correctly. Now it will be B's ball, 1st and 10, from the spot where his knee was down, which is the 10-yard line. We're going to see our referee come in here and indicate he's down. Be alert for this. Be ready to officiate this because this is a dead ball. This would be legal. This would be legal if the holder received the snap and obviously rose his knee off the ground and then pitched. Know the rules on these types of plays. We get a great call on this play. We're going to have a quarterback under pressure. He's going to throw the ball to the ground, as we'll see on this play. And you can see when he throws the ball, he releases it, and the ball ends up landing closest to a lineman. And our closest potential receiver is there by the arrow, and the circle's where the ball lands. So this crew does a great job, as we're going to see here, of coming together, talking about this, and getting the intentional grounding. Because remember, a pass intentionally thrown into an area not occupied by an eligible offensive receiver or thrown incomplete to save loss of yardage or conserve time is intentional grounding. He doesn't meet any of the criteria getting outside our free blocking zone. He throws the ball and meets those two criteria. As you see here, the crew comes together. We have a marker on the ground. Remember, this is a crew call. They do a great job of communicating. It's a spot foul. The referee puts the flag down. We walk off 5 yards from the spot of where quarterback passed or threw the ball, and then we have a loss of down. Great job on this play by the crew. The next 2 plays, we're going to look at mechanics, pre-snap fouls for the head linesman and line judge. On this play, we have the defensive player here I highlighted. He encroaches. Our head linesman gets a flag down. See him getting the flag out here, and then he gives the encroachment signal. Caution on preliminary signals. We don't use them in our association. Remember, you're the opposite side official. We can't tell in this play, but if our line judge has a flag, we need to come together and talk about it before we start giving conflicting signals. So be cautious about this. Don't give those preliminary signals. Proper mechanics we're going to look at here in a minute on this. But the head linesman gets the marker down. But if we give these signals and our line judge gives the opposite signal, we're going to have a problem. So we don't want to do that. So instead of doing it this way, the proper way to do it is here. We're going to see this player right here, number 5. He's going to encroach on this play. We're going to see our line judge down here at the bottom of the screen. We're going to see the encroachment take place. Flag goes up. He comes in on the field. using the stop the clock signal. And because we have the benefit of utilizing a communication device of a radio, he gets on the radio and communicates to the referee the foul that he has. This is the proper mechanics on this play. Great job here by our line judge. Let's do this mechanic in all of our games. Play 7, we're going to look at a hold and enforcement. So we need to keep in mind right here, our 14-yard line is the line of scrimmage where we snap the ball. And we're going to focus right here on the center after he snaps the ball. He grabs, twists, turns, and takes down our defensive player. Good job by the umpire getting a flag down, recognizing the takedown hold. And then we see our quarterback or our passer come near the sideline. Good job here with the referee closing down and staying on and keeping an eye on that. Also, I like the fact the line judge turns back after he observes his area and checks on that quarterback. Good preventive officiating here. Good job of keeping an eye so that nothing else occurs that we don't miss. So, as we come back here and we look at this takedown, we can see clearly he grabs him, turns, twists, takes him down. Umpire gets the marker down. If in a game that you see a player on the ground like this and you didn't get this foul, and you're fortunate enough to have the opportunity to get video like we do here in North Carolina through Huddle, you want to come back to that play in your game and look at it and see if you didn't get the foul on the field, why didn't you? Was it a takedown like this? And what specifically were you watching if it was in your area so that you can improve next week? All right, let's come back to the enforcement. Now remember, I said the previous spot was 14 where we snap the ball in. If we look at Rule 10-4, 2D, foul by A, behind the line of scrimmage, okay? And the enforcement spot is the previous spot, which was 14. So we look over here and we see our umpire getting ready to put the ball down at what looks like the 26. And it looks like our head linesman's at the 24. So the head linesman at the correct spot. Our umpire is at the incorrect spot. So this is where the head linesman needs to say, hey, umpire, wait a minute, don't put the ball down. This is where the umpire needs to look over at the head linesman and say, hey, you're at a different spot than I'm at. So before I put this ball down, we need to correct it or figure it out. But we do put the ball down on the ground here. Okay. And our line judge does a great job here. Awesome job. He recognizes it. He's coming in to communicate that and tell everyone. Head linesman, take the same initiative as our line judge here did. Recognize this and don't just move back to the spot the umpire put the ball at. Ask him, is it correct? Let's get the enforcement spot correctly so we don't have a 12-yard enforcement. We have a 10-yard enforcement. Line judge comes in, does a great job, gets with the referee. They then get with the umpire here, you'll see. They talk about it. They communicate. The umpire moves the ball back to the 34, which is the 10-yard enforcement spot from the 24 to the 34. Great job here getting the spot correct. Great job by the line judge communicating this and taking the initiative to get it corrected. Our next two plays, we're going to talk about linemen downfield. And remember, a lineman can go downfield to the expanded neutral zone, which is 2 yards. So we're snapping the ball here at the 45. We see number 75 right here. Now, he's not 2 yards downfield at this point in time. So he's not a lineman downfield. But as this play progresses, we're going to see him end up further downfield and inside the 40 when we see our quarterback releasing the ball for the pass. So he's definitely beyond that expanded neutral zone, and our umpire does a good job here of getting a flag down. We need to really get focused on these because we're seeing a number of these get overlooked or not recognized in the game. So let's improve on that in the upcoming weeks. As we take another look at another play here regarding lineman downfield, we can see we snapped the ball to 49. 47 is our 2-yard expanded neutral zone. And so as we look across the field here, I would say most likely the player that I would have the arrow on, you can see his foot's over 3 yards downfield. So that's the player that's downfield, linemen downfield. So we need to recognize that. And just a couple suggestions, and you need to figure out what works for you. On this play, if you're the head linesman here, because everything's coming to the line judge side, so the line judge is getting all the action, everything, quarterback, players coming his way. Take a glance downfield and see if you see any players 50 through 79. Since you're not quite as focused on the holding and the quarterback coming your way, you have a little bit more ability to do that, so to speak. So if that's what works for you, do that. Ideally, we'd like to see a flag down or even 3 flags down on this play if we recognize it for the H, the L in the umpire on these plays. I'll admit I don't work routine umpire, but I know umpires would step up towards the line, and maybe that works for you. Step up, and you'll feel the presence of those linemen, and you can glance and say, "Oh, that's number 50 through 79. He shouldn't be down here," and then we will pick it up. So whatever you need to do and whatever effort we need to put forth, let's get focused on these linemen downfield and improve in the next upcoming games and weeks to get these calls correct. Our next play, to play number 10 here, we're going to see multiple fouls on this play, and that's why it's important that we continue to officiate the play all the way through the end. Even though we see a penalty marker down, continue to officiate play all the way until the play is completed or over. And in that case, you'll get the multiple penalties or so forth on a play. So first up, let's look at this back. Remember, he's a back. So what can he not do? He cannot block below the waist because he's not on the line of scrimmage at the snap. But what does our back do on this play? He goes down and he blocks below the waist. We have an illegal block below the waist. Good job here. The referee gets this call. And then we look over here. We know that our passer must have his feet in or behind the neutral zone. In this case, we can see the line of scrimmage was the 39. We can see he's past that. Our line judge gets a flag down for an illegal forward pass to the passer. And then we move on downfield. We can see our potential receiver goes down, and we have an interception, and the back judge has a foul for defensive pass interference. So this is where we need to come together, discuss all our fouls, sort things out, and then proceed from there to administer what fouls we have and so forth to get the call correct on the field. Good job here, staying on top of the play. Play number 11 this week, our focus will be on the 2 players, one on defense, one on offense. I have highlighted. We're going to see the running back there get the handoff, and he's going to go to the far side of the field. Defensive player comes up, wraps him, picks him up, and drives him into the ground. And our referee does a good job of getting a marker down for a personal foul. So let's keep in mind here that underneath Rule 9, Section 4 states that it's illegal personal contact if any contact on an opponent which is deemed unnecessary or excessive and which incites roughness. This is clearly unnecessary. This is inciting roughness. We can see them pick him up and drive him, the running back, into the ground. This is totally unnecessary. This is not what we want to see on the football field. This is basically designed by the defensive player to basically punish the offensive player here. So this is a good call. And if you really deem this to be really flagrant, intentional, you could enforce the rule of either disqualification or, in North Carolina, an ejection on this play. All right, 12th play, where our focus will be on the 2 players that I have obviously highlighted. And we don't talk about the back judge a whole lot, but here we're going to see our back judge do a great job. We'll see these 2 players get engaged a little bit away from the ball. You see the back judge recognize it, gets a marker down, comes hustling over, gets in there, makes sure no further action. We have our back judge closed down, does a great job here officiating off the ball. We also can see our line judge come in, and get in there and, make sure that our players are done playing. Good job here, especially by the back judge, hustling all the way down there. We got our markers down. So now comes the time to make sure we appropriately report the foul information to our referee, because obviously our referee does not know probably what went on downfield on a play like this because the referee's not looking there. So we got to communicate it effectively to the referee. But a really good job here by our back judge, not getting caught ball watching, recognizing it, seeing it, and hustling over there to prevent anything further from happening. Great job on this play by the back judge and all officials handling this play. All right, that's our week 5 video. Thanks everyone for taking the time to watch this video. I hope this training video was helpful to you and will help you in your future games. Until next time, take care.